guys, this is Dr. Callahan for Algebra 2 Semester 2 for week 18, Tuesday. Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following 3 questions. All right, take a look at your question number 3. These are your answers. So just briefly glance over them, see if you got any of those incorrect. All right, let's move on, you guys. So 300 points, week 19, that's coming up. This is, well, today is actually the 17th. So this is week 18. Week 19, Friday, is going to be on the 27th, which is also the day for a lot of your seniors. Your grades need to be in for that. But I don't think that really applies to a lot of you guys because you guys are juniors. But your final for this class is going to be on June 6th, which is during third period, starting at 7:45. So June 6th is going to be on that Monday, which is unfortunate because most people don't want to take a test on Monday, and especially at 7:45. When you guys walked into class that day, just keep in mind everything's going to be along the side of the walls. It's a common district final, so no access to cell phones. And as a matter of fact, I will have you guys put your cell phones in Ziploc bags with a sticky note to make sure that it doesn't go off during the test, because if it does goes off, it is a testing violation, and then your test is invalidated and nobody gets their grade. So we don't want that to happen. June 2nd, Thursday, 2:25 is the last day for you to turn anything in. That includes your Math Excel, your practice, your assessment, any of the hard copies, any of the guided notes that we've done in class, your warm-up, any of that, it is due on June 2nd. So keep that in mind. Safety grade is a 75%. That's exactly what you need. If you don't think you're gonna do well on the common district final, it is 15%. And that's basically it. When you show up on the day of the test, you can have a TI-84 calculator, which I'll put on your desk for you guys. You have an answer Scantron, there'll be a number 2 pencil, and a test booklet. So those 4 things, that is all that you need. You cannot have anything else besides those 4 things. It is my hope that when you guys are done with the test, I will just grade it with my computer, insert it in Infinite Campus, and then boom, you'll know exactly what you have for this class before you leave that day. But if I don't get it done, it will definitely be done like 30 minutes after you guys leave that class. So check Infinite Campus. And that's it, you guys. This is the end of your junior year, and you're going to be moving on to your senior year. All right, so if you guys take a look at the YouTube channel, every day that we have class, I usually update it with a video. So at this point, you guys should have 82 videos right there. And the last one that I posted is week 18 Monday. So it's already there. And so I think everything is copacetic and we're good to go. All right, so last class, if you were not here with us, excuse me, we went over the different ways of solving and rewriting logs. We also use our calculators, which is important. As you guys know, hopefully at this point, you should realize your common district final is heavily reliant on you using your TI-84 calculator. So if you don't know where the buttons is, that is a huge issue for you. So make sure you guys know where the buttons are. And so we did that, and then I had you guys practice, and I gave you guys a QR code for you guys to go over the answers. And today, we are going over continuing on with more practice. And so first thing I want you guys to do is turn over to this page. You also need to grab a TI-84 calculator, so make sure you guys do that. And then also grab a sticky note. So sticky note and TI-84. Tomorrow is Wednesday, and tomorrow is also your last day for assessment. I'm actually gonna have you guys like get started on your study guides so you can get a glimpse and take a look at it as to what you're gonna be doing with it. The questions on your final is gonna be a little bit different than the questions we go over in class. It is a little bit more rigorous, and that's why I expose you guys to the study guide, so that way you kind of align your expectation of how hard the question on the final will be. And so we will practice that for the last 2 weeks of class. So you are adequately prepared and ready to rock the final. Does anybody need a copy of this by chance? Everybody have this? All right, let's go ahead and get started then. So what is a log and when do you use it? A log is basically an exponent, okay? And you use log to solve for missing exponents. Generally, if you have something that looks like this, that's where you're trying to solve, is that little exponent on top. So for example, 10 to the x, so there's your little x, equals 5. To find the x value, you have to convert this into the form of a log. All right, we're gonna go on to the next page. So take about another 10 seconds copying this part down. Log is one of those things that it requires like practice and repractice. And that's why you're like, didn't we kind of go over this already? We did. And so this is like our second or third time going around reviewing it. You can't just see log one time and then totally understand what it is. It requires you to kind of go over it twice or 3 times to get the extra exposure. For those of you guys who are going to be going into your senior year, if you chose Algebra 3, this is probably the easiest math class, which is not always the best choice, mainly because if you're planning on going to TMCC or some college, Algebra 3 is not going to help you a lot to prepare you for college. The next level up is prop stats. This one is the one that's really useful if you're planning on going to TMCC, like into automotive or maybe HVAC or maybe something that's business related, because we go through a lot of like real life applications of like how to save money, how to use a check, how to invest your money, etc. Now, if you want to go something that's like a little bit more like UNR four-year university related, you want to go to pre-calculus and trig. And this is where log comes in. It's going to be a continuation when you guys go into that class. And so that's another option. But those are your 3 basic options of where you can go to for your senior year when it comes to math. If you're planning on going to UNR and you definitely want to go something that's math related, pre-calculus and trigonometry will be the one that you want to aim for. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. Logs and exponentials are inverses of each other. So the exponential function is y is equal to the b to the x power, okay? The inverse of that exponential is you just simply take x, put it down, and then you do b to the power of y. So these two are written differently in that way. So then in log form, you'll have y is equal to the log base b x, which is equal to x is equal to b to the y in exponential form. And those are the 2 different forms that you can see there. For those of you guys who are just sitting there looking at your cell phone, remember the highest percentage you'll get today is 55%. So if you're going to have to be here, you might as well put in a little bit more effort, at least get a 60 or better. Okay, for the rest of you guys, you're doing great. So yeah, but just my friendly reminder. So if I were to go ahead and present this as an example, for example, if I have 2 is equal to the log of base 3, 9. If I were to go ahead and rewrite that, you guys know it's going to start off with a base, right? 3 squared equals 9. That's what the log form will look like if you translate it to an exponential form. And the way that you read this, and it's important that you know the wording when it comes to math, is you read it as log base 3 of 9. and that's the appropriate way to read it. So again, we're just kind of like reviewing logs, and you've been exposed to this before, but you got to kind of do the repetitiveness of it so that way it sticks in your head. All right, when the base of an exponent is 10, the subscript is not written. So just keep that in mind. They are just assumed, okay? So if it's a base 10, it's not written there, you just assume it's 10. So like, for example, if you have 10 squared equals 100, the way that you'll write this is you just do log base 10, but we don't write the 10, but we do 100 equals 2. So that's how you rewrite it as an inverse. Second part of logs, when the base of the exponent is e, the logarithm is called natural logs and is written as ln. So for example, if I were to give you something that's like e squared equals 7.389, the proper way of writing that, you guys, is just going to be, we'll just rewrite it as ln 7.389 equals 2. And I know you're like, well, what happened to the e? If you have an e, you generally put an ln on the left, ln on the right. The ln just magically cancels with the e. Okay, so it's just gone. And if you don't believe me, you can actually grab your calculator. So I'm gonna grab my calculator so you guys can see it. It's important so I can turn my calculator on. If you just grab your calculator and you can, why is this not getting bigger? Here we go. All right, so then if you type in ln right there, and then you do e, you see how e is in the blue number by the division bar? You gotta hit the blue number, which is second, and then e, close your parenthesis. And do you see how it just cancels each other and it just gives you a 1? Yeah, that's intentional. It's supposed to do that. So that way, you know, ln and e just cancels each other naturally. So it works. All right, let's move on, you guys. So we're going to go on to example number 1, and it asks you to go ahead and write the following logarithm in, or following in log form is what it's asking you. Okay, so with this one, remember that you can rewrite them using this formula. And I'm gonna cut this formula over here and paste it on the slide so that way you guys can use that as an example. And for those of you on the Zoom, I'm gonna move it back over here. There we go. So you have this as an example, okay? So for number 1, how would you write this? I will write it as take the 7 to the power of 4, set it equal to 2401. For number 3, it's ln 10. Remember, whenever you have an ln, you want to put an e on both sides. And you also know that your e and ln cancel, so you're just left with 10 is equal to e the 2.302. So now that I went over those two with you guys, I want you guys to do number 2, number 4, and number 5 on your own. So give that a try. And again, this is not new, you guys. We're just kind of like re-practicing with it. If you are ready, you're welcome to check your answers with mine to ensure you guys have the correct answers written for those practice problems. Okay, so now that we've written from log to exponential form, okay, we're now going to go ahead and do the opposite. So now you're going to go from exponential, which is what you have right here, and you're going to write it into log form. Okay, so we're just going to practice doing that. So let's start off with number 2. We'll do number 2 first. For number 2, you have 10 to the 4th equals 10,000. So remember, if you're going to go to log form, there has to be a log. And you're going to ask yourself, okay, so which one is my base? I think my base is just going to be that 10. That 10 is your base. And remember, you don't have to write it because it's assumed. And then you want to put 10,000 with your log equals the exponent, which is 4. And that's how you write it. Let's take a look at number 4. For number 4, you have an E right there. Remember, anytime you see an E, you put an LN on both sides. So that LN and E cancels, and that little 4 is just by itself now, equals LN 54.598. And that's just all that you write. Now that I went over 2 questions with you guys, and again, this is not new because you've done this before, I'm gonna have you guys do number 7, 1, and 5. So take about maybe a minute or 2 and give that a try. Okay, now that you guys had a few moments to kind of look at that, let's go ahead and see if you guys have the right answer. And here are my answers right there. So you guys can go ahead and check to make sure your answers are appropriate. All right, now let's go on to the properties, you guys. All right, so here you have a summarization of the properties of log, and there's 1, 2, 3. So get yourself acquainted with that. And again, it's not brand new, it's a review. And then on the right side, you have properties of natural logs. All right, let's go ahead and jump in and do some practices then. All right, so for number 1, you have evaluate the log expression without a calculator. So no calculator involved. Although I'll show you guys both ways, with the calculator and then without, okay? If I were to do this with a calculator, you guys, it's just gonna be log 27 divided by log 3, right? Like that's how we do this with a calculator. So if I grab my calculator, which I am doing right now, let's just type in log 27, close your parenthesis, divided by log 3, close your parenthesis, enter, and what is your answer? Hopefully you have 3, right? That's what it gives you. But if you can't use a calculator, okay, then how would you go about finding this? What you will do is you will set this equal to X, okay? And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna rewrite it. You're gonna do base of 3 to the X equals 27. And then remember, a technique to solve this is it has to have the same 3. So you're gonna ask yourself, 3 to the what power gives me 27? You know, 3 to the 1 power equals 3. 3 squared is 9. 3 to the 3rd power is 27. Bingo, that's what I need. So then I will put a 3 on top of that 3 base. And then because both of these have a base of 3, remember the technique is that you just cross them out and you have the exponent X equals 3. And that's how you'll solve it without a calculator. Take a look at number 3. For number 3, if you have a calculator, you will just simply do log 1 over 25 divided by log over base of 5. And so let's go ahead and use my calculator and see what that will be equal to, just so I have an idea. So just put log 1 divided by 5, or 25, just kidding, 25, divided by log base 5. And as you guys can see, it says -2. But then how do I get -2 if I do not have a calculator? Well, let's give it a try. So you're going to rewrite this just like how I taught you guys before. And you're going to say, okay, base is 5. Remember, this is equal to X. So the base of 5 to the X is equal to 1 over 25. So you're going to have to work this out a little bit. You're like, okay, how do I rewrite the 1 over 25 to have a 5 there? This is what you're going to do, okay? 1 over 25 is the same thing as 1 over 5 squared, right? Well, how do I bring that 5 up? If I just move that 5 up, it will give me 5 to the -2 power, because you can switch it up. You just have to change the exponent sign. So now that you have the same base, which is a 5 right there, you know your bases cancel. And then what's your exponent? What's left? X equals -2. And that is your answer. All right, so I'm going to have you guys practice with 1 to 12. I'm going to give you guys a moment, so just go ahead and work on that. So I showed you guys 2 questions, and actually, you know what? I'm going to show you guys one more. Just kidding. So sorry. So go over to number 11. This is an interesting one. Number 11. If you look at it, it looks really, really ugly, and I totally understand, but it's actually not that difficult, because remember, one of the properties is that if you have 4 with a log base 4, that just cancel, and what's left? It's just 7, and that is your answer. That's it. So for right now, go ahead and practice numbers 1 to 12. Take about a few minutes and see what your answer is. All right, so if you guys are done, take a look at the answers for the steps right here. Make sure you guys have them. All right, let's go on. Evaluate with a calculator, you guys. So the log button on the calculator or do just simple base of 10, okay, which is a common log. So then if you take a look at number 1, 2, and 3 with your calculators, all of these have a base of 10. That's just what it's assumed. So with your calculator, we're gonna go ahead and just type those in, okay? So turn your calculator on and you are going to, I'm trying to make this a little bit bigger, do log 13, enter, log 1 divided by 3, enter, and then lastly, log negative. Negative is not a minus button, it's a negative 22, enter. Make sure you guys know where those buttons are, and I did it deliberately like that, so that way you guys can figure out where the buttons are, so you know accordingly to your test. So if you have those numbers after you use your calculator, you got them correct. Next one, the LN button on the calculator will do the same base E, which is the natural log, okay? So then again, with your calculator, we are just gonna put LN 16, close your parenthesis, and then LN 3 divided by 4. It's in a form of a fraction, so I wanna make sure you guys know where that is. All right, and so if you're able to get those two answers correctly, you know where the buttons are, you're good to go. Okay, I have one more page and then we're pretty much done for today, you guys. So let's go on to the next part. Properties of logs. I know you're like, we already did expanding. You're right, we did. But like I said before, it's about re-practice, and log is not easy, you guys. It's probably one of the harder units. And I just want to make sure you guys have enough exposure to it. All right, so looking at 1, 2, and 3, okay? How would you be able to find the answer if that was given to you on the test? They're all written differently. And the number one thing I would suggest doing is making sure you have your calculator, because that calculator will definitely help you with this. For the first one, you just type in log 84 because it's a base of 10. So nothing fancy there. Second one, you just do ln 12, close your parenthesis, enter there. Number 3 requires to do a little bit more work, but not by much. It's not a base of 10. So you just put log 14 on top, divided by log base of 2, close your parenthesis, and that's it. And if you're able to do those 3 things, then that tells me, and also should tell you, that you know where your buttons are, you know how to convert your log. If you're like, I didn't get that, then that is a little bit problematic, and make sure you know how to use your calculator. Change of base formula. The change of base formula is just log base B of A is equal to log A divided by log B. So for your first practice, which says number 1, once again, you're gonna grab your calculator and you're just gonna type in log, which is the top part of 40, divided by the log of base, and your log is gonna be a base of 3. And your answer for this case should be just 3.36 if you round it up. And if you're able to get that one, then you're good to go. Sorry, I have to kind of switch back and forth. Like when I'm video recording, like the screen that they see is not the screen that I have up there. I have to like physically select it. All right, last piece, you guys, and we're pretty much almost done. So let's go over here to the product property, and we'll fill this part out, and then we'll stop today. So for your product property, remember, if it is multiplied, opposite of that is gonna, well, not opposite, I shouldn't say opposite. If I were to expand it, it will be a plus. So you write log twice, log base A, B, plus log base A, C. And this is expanding. Now remember, with quotient property, if there's a division, you gotta write it twice, log base A, B, minus log base A, C. And the last one is a power property. So this is the one where you take that base A to the C equal to B. And that is it. I'm going to stop right there, you guys. Class is not over yet, so I'm going to have you guys do another activity with me. So you'll need a cell phone or a iPad. As we're getting started with like finals and whatnot, I think it's important for you to know what kind of a study person you are. And so I have a personality test I'm gonna have you guys take in class. And at the end of the personality test, it's gonna give you 4 letters to describe your personality and how you study. So if you have your cell phone ready, all right, let's get started with this then. All right, so what kind of a person are you? Think about in your head 5 different adjectives that describe you, okay? Some could be organized, hardworking, compassionate, you're vocal, you're conscientious, or maybe you're direct. So today we're gonna figure out who you are so that way you can better prepare yourself for the final. Take a look at all the different personalities you can have. Pick any 3 and just keep it in your head. These are all different personalities of high school students. I like the annoying one. You know, it's possible to have annoying high school kids. The tiniest dangerous one is cute as well. All right, so after you guys have your personality test, we're gonna go ahead and link you to a historical important person. So you could be like a Martin Luther King, or you could be an Albert Einstein, or Gandhi, or you could be a Mother Teresa. So let's see which one you are. So with your cell phone, go to that QR code. There's about like maybe I think 30 questions that ask about your personality and what choices you will select. And then at the end of this, you need to make sure you have 4 letters and write the 4 letters down on your packet, anywhere on your packet, so you remember which 4 letters it is. And then we're going to take a little field trip outside and you're going to find the description of your 4 letters. Okay. So for my friends on Zoom, you can pause the video and take the personality test. So at this point, you should have 4 letters. Okay, so if you're not done with it, just kind of like hurry it up. And so I am an ENTJ, and these are the 4 letters I wrote down. And so what does ENTJ mean exactly? Well, if I had to compare myself to anybody who is a famous person, I am compared to Napoleon Bonaparte, which I'm like, I don't really like that, but that's okay. But ENTJs tend to assume leadership roles and solve organizational problems. They can be pushy when putting their ideas forward. So I could be a little bit pushy. So you should have 4 letters. And then the next thing that I want you guys to do is you are going to open up a Google search bar, and you're going to type in your 4 letters. So I'm going to type in ENTJ, and then type in celebrities or historical figures. Okay, so just your 4 letters. And then you have an entire list of people that you are also similar in personality with, celebrities or historical people that have already died. Like some of mine for ENTJ are Mark Cuban, Dr. Phil, Gandhi, Kathy Bates, Margaret Thatcher, Picasso, Steve Jobs, and Franklin Roosevelt. So those are all the historical figures that also have the ENTJ. So you're going to figure out the famous people that has your 4 different letters. I'm also being compared to Gordon Ramsay. And then once you have that, you're going to go and answer your question on the following Padlet. Okay, so go to the following Padlet, write down your 4 letters. Do you agree or disagree with the assessment? Which famous person or celebrity are you aligned with? And then finish the sentence, I wish I was more blank and be more like blank. So that is the last part of your reflection exit ticket. And again, like I said, in this class, your participation is what helps you with your grades. So all I'm looking for is just your name in the front of it. And so please use your actual name. Don't put in like some nickname that I have no idea who it is. And I'll just give you the check marks. And for those of you guys on Zoom, that will be it. So make sure you guys get that done and have a great day.